Hi, this is Kimberly. This is a synopsis of Chapter 10 of the book Letters from Christopher, Tragic Confessions of the Watts Family Murders by Sherilyn Cadle. This chapter is entitled The Night Before. On Saturday night, August 11th, Shanann had over 36 hours to live. Did she start to feel her life was almost over? The first two sentences are, I don't know, I would call it bad taste. If that was a YouTube video, people would probably call it clickbait. The part about did she start to feel her life was almost over, I could have just done without that. Let me read it again. On Saturday night, August 11th, Shanann had less than 36 hours to live. Did she start to feel that her life was almost over? Research has shown people do not have a clue. And since research has shown that people do not have a clue, then why even bring it up? Especially since you're failing to cite your source. And with this chapter, I'm about to quote my ass off almost the entire first paragraph in this chapter, as it's making me very pissed. Allow me to read from the book and you'll hear for yourself. And I quote, "Little did she know that she was about to step into eternity, and everything she had done in her life, every friendship she had made, and everything she had accomplished was about to come to an abrupt end. Soon the reality and sadness would set into her family as they realized she is now a memory." End quote. What the F? Am I being overly sensitive and hypercritical? It just sounds so callous. Yes, I do think that sometimes people will sense when they're about to die. I've seen it happen to a couple of people in my life. This could explain Shanann's low mood and feeling ill, the throwing up. Or maybe it was because her husband was being a total asshole and she knew her marriage was falling apart and about to end. Who knows, maybe he even found a way to sneak some more OxyContin into her system, into maybe a medication she had, or who knows. She was sick and throwing up in North Carolina, and that was after he had given her OxyContin. I'm just saying, it could have been the sense of knowing that her life was coming to an end, or it could have been the stress she was under from her dumbass husband. While Shanann was at her Thrive convention, Chris was being a brat and feeling annoyed with Bella and Cece, apparently because they were not his mistress/girlfriend Nikki. Sticky hickey. Well, tough shit, Christopher. You were a married man and a father 3 times over.
And that's what you chose for yourself, and now you're pissed.
And your wife was beside herself trying to figure out what the hell was up your ass. And the house note still had not been paid. Everything was falling apart around you. And you're annoyed with your children because you can't be with your mistress? Had you stopped being a horny teenager and spoken a kind word, or just spoken to your wife, she would have been so happy and grateful. She would have been willing to discuss anything at this point. She begged you to talk. Who knows, she may have been willing to discuss divorce calmly. She even had sent a picture of the sonogram of Nico to your parents, and she just got crickets from them, nothing. Y'all were all being cruel to her. She wanted to mend fences. She wanted to mend them with you, for crying out loud, and with your parents, your family. But instead, I read that you were feeling irritated by your daughters because you could only think about murdering your family and being with her. You had the world in your small little hand. You wadded it up, spit on it, and threw it out. God almighty, Chris, you were an adult, and no one would have stopped you from being with Nikki. In fact, you could have walked out the door just as soon as Shanann got home that night. You would be a total jackass, but it could have been done, and it should have been done. Hell, you could have moved out when they were in North Carolina. The author said that Chris really didn't want to kill them, but he knew that he would. This is repeated 3 times in the chapter, so, well, you know me, I would have interrogated Chris Watts until he was in tears. Yes, even on Sunday he was still saying that in his head he didn't want to kill them, but he knew he would. My God, did it not occur to him that this was a foolish plan to get with Nikki? That he wasn't going to see her anymore either? Despite the fact that Sticky Hickey
supposedly told Fuckface to go play dad, go be a father.
Nikki texted Chris continually that day while the kids were at their birthday party with him, just all day and all night, telling him she wanted him, that she wanted to see him, etc. The 111-minute phone call that he held with Nikki that Sunday night included some phone sex. I wish I hadn't read that part. Gross. I mean, I feel nauseous now, and I have a really ugly visual in my head. Make it go away. So he tucked the kids into bed, and he knew it was the last time. Again, 𝐂𝐤𝐡 says that Chris didn't want to, but knew he was going to follow through with his asinine plan. Bella kept getting out of bed to ask when Mommy was going to be home. It was unusual for her to do that, but I'm sure that intuitive little angel knew something wasn't right. I'm sure this annoyed Chris to no end, especially when he was anticipating phone sex. But Chris tells 𝐂𝐤𝐡 that NK was like a drug he got hooked on. Well, Chris, why the hell didn't you just get on the phone, call 911, and have an ambulance dispatched to your house? Tell them you're a crazy idiot. You were clearly in a psychotic state. But, the good thing is you and Nikki can still have firsts. They'll just be different ones. Nikki's first, you have a collect call from Christopher, an inmate at Dodge Correctional Institution. That can be your first. And again, we have he knew he was going to kill her, but he did not want to. And 𝐂𝐤𝐡 even asked in the chapter, why, if he didn't want to, would he have chosen to do it anyway? Well, then she provides us with no answer. Did she ask him? Even if he decided to zip his mouth about certain things, it would be nice to know. Hey guys, I asked him and he told me to shut up. The author says, and I quote, "What torment to plan the killing of your family," end quote. What torment to plan the killing of your family? No, I don't think he was in torment at all. And did Mrs. 𝐂𝐤𝐡 really say that? Yes, she did, word for word. And then there was this little gem. It is possible he did not have a good memory of what happened. Not at first, anyway. Most likely the trauma could have caused the memory loss. He says after he killed Shanann, he trembled all the way to the oil site. As we seen on the neighbor's video camera, he looked scared and guilty. End quote. Yes, she said, as we seen. That's bad grammar, Mrs. 𝐂𝐤𝐡. And it was he looked scared, not he looked scared. Let me read that again without the bad grammar. It is possible he did not have a good memory of what happened. Not at first, anyway. Most likely the trauma could have caused the memory loss. He says after he killed Shanann, he trembled all the way to the oil site. As we saw on the neighbor's video camera, he looked scared and guilty. No, he didn't. He looked quite calm and gleefully going about starting his day. In fact, he was well ahead of the game because he packed his lunchbox the night before. I wonder what superhero he has on his lunchbox. And then, and I quote, research shows that physical and emotional trauma can directly affect a person's memory, a condition causing temporary memory loss to help a person cope with a traumatic event. Here we go with the research shows again without citing it. I mean, this could have come off Reddit, an amateur psychologist. And I think, in a way, that 𝐂𝐤𝐡 is using possible memory loss. That Chris suffered as a result of the emotionally stressful event of annihilating his family, but using memory loss as a possible reason that Chris blamed Shanann on the first go-around of confessions. Like the previous chapter, what I wanted as a reader was to have every single solitary minute accounted for. That would, of course, been a very long book, perhaps a series, but I think she was not willing to write that much, honestly. When I was in school and the teacher would assign a paper to write, saying that it had to be 4 to 5 pages, 1-inch margins, double-spaced, and everyone would groan and lay their head on their desk, I would be the one raising my hand, the one waving their hand in the air, asking if it could be more than the 4 to 5 pages. Then when the bell would ring, people would do stuff like take my books from me and throw them in the trash can. And that will be the end of this video. I will pick up with chapter 11 in the next one. Thank you so much for listening.